Hello, everybody. We are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo. This is my forever co-host John, and today we talk about the series finale for Masters of the Air. Quite sad that this is ending because I am like, there goes another great, good World War
TV
II
show.
TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, and like, there's always, like we said it before, there's always that moment where the soldiers, especially in the Allies side, realize why they fight, and Rosie finds out the hard way after he's captured by the Soviet Union and he just sees the horrors of the Holocaust, and you're like, yeah, that's why you fight this war, to prevent or stop things like this.
yeah. And like, I tend to forget that like majority of the soldiers or people of that time don't have a visual,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, like a physical thing to look at or to motivate them until Rosie she stepped into a camp and it's just like
Yeah.
this is what they're doing. Yeah, I forgot that's the time.
Yeah.
Not every soldier in World War II knew what the fuck was going on. They're like, these are the bad guys. We just have to beat them.
Yeah.
They never knew the horrors, and that was such an eye-opening scene for me. I was like, yeah, they don't have like the internet or like photos to show
Yeah.
them what the Germans were doing. They just
Yeah.
knew that they were bad.
Yeah. They just knew that Hitler wanted to invade the world for some reason and control everybody and submit to his ways, and he was just a bad dictator. He didn't know, and not a lot of the soldiers knew about the Holocaust and the final solution and Hitler's uh, bigotry against the Jews. So once you
Mm.
see that, you're like, ah, shit. This is why we fight, boys. Uh,
Yeah,
and Rosie, once he gets back, he tells, um, I forgot who, Lieutenant Crosby, of
Crosby. Yeah,
like these guys really have it coming towards to them, the Nazis
mm.
and the SS. They really do. And I once they said the date, the year this episode was taking place in, I was like, I guess we're ending this. All right.
Yeah. Like this entire story was up to like the beginning to the end,
Yeah.
and it does feel short and a little rushed. I
Yeah.
will say, like, I kind of wish for like another 2 episodes, but I guess it's already expensive enough to do 1 episode.
Yeah. Um.
But yeah, we forgot to like mention that like Rosie went through like one hell of a flacking. It was like
Yeah.
everybody. We never heard from his team again. By the way, like it sounded like he had a solid team in his plane, and we
Yeah.
just never heard from them after
Yeah.
they crashed.
You're like, I guess they're all either captured or just dead. Poor guy.
Yeah. Do you remember the guy who just passed out of the nose of the plane? It's like, and he's like discombobulated because of the explosion.
Yeah.
And then Rosie, like, I don't blame him. Just as like, I can't help him. So he just opens the hatch and just jumps out, and you just see the plane just blow up midair and then crash. I was like, well, there
Well,
goes that guy.
yeah. And then Rosie breaks his arm in the process, and he thinks he's surrounded by the Nazis, and he's like, oh, fuck. My arm can't move.
Another thing that I forgot. You're- I guess he only found out they were Russians until he saw the uniform.
Yeah.
But like I forgot, like a lot of people can't distinguish dialect. And I was like, that's a good point. I was like, oh no, just I was like legit being like, no, stay calm. They're on your side.
Yeah. He also has this conversation before he goes home, has a conversation with one of the survivors of the war. The guy's like, I
that
have,
was so good.
yeah. And then he says something towards the end, he says something very timely too, because he's like, I'm going back to somewhere. And I'm like, oh, wow. That's timely? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and like, but yeah, and like the story the old guy tells him of like the horrors that he had to witness and he was forced to do by like Nazis.
Yeah.
And then like Rosie's last words was like go with God, and it was like if God was here, he's forgotten me. Like this is like yeah, they were winning the war, but it's a little too late now
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Yeah. You're like, truly, nobody wins in war in general.
No, but it's
Yeah. And then we go to the other side of the story, where the two Buckies, and they're trying to escape. One of them makes it. Gale makes it, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
shit! I hope. I like when John was being beaten by the Nazis. I'm like, I swear to God, if he gets shot in this one,
I get. Yeah, I say I was like, the death flags were there. Here it is. You know, like they try to run, he gets shot in the back, and he just bleeds out
Yeah.
or something.
I was like, please God, it's really the last episode he dies. I'm gonna freak out if he does. But no,
Yeah.
he survives. They both survive, even though the team of Buck gets surrounded by like Hitler Youth, and like you're like
Hitler Youth.
yeah. Yeah.
It's a subgenre of music.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I'm sorry. but that was an interesting scene where they had to do like this whole death march thing where
Yeah.
they had to move because Russian forces were coming in and they couldn't stay at their camp, and like one of the Jewish soldiers like helped the captain up, like
Yeah.
even helped him carry his gun.
Yeah.
I like this entire scene, and there was a point where like the Germans were like passing by with like the I don't know what you call those armored cars,
Yeah.
and then that's when you saw I was like, this is a very mixed bag. Like a lot of youthful kids and like very old men, and like even the general was like, or the captain was like, these like kids and old men, we have truly lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
That's,
we have lost it all, or something like that.
yeah, they were that desperate to try to survive this battle, not even just the war, because they're like,
Yeah.
we've already lost. We're just trying to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, we were speaking of subgenre of music. Hitler's Youth. One kid just gets gagged by Elvis Presley, and it's like, I felt so bad because like you see the aftermath, he's just like on the ground,
Yeah.
and the bloody nose. I was like, kid got fucked.
Right? It's like, well, he doesn't get up the entire sequence after that. You're like, well, shit, poor guy.
Oh well. But yeah, like they stabbed one of them, and he was like a good friend of
Buck.
Gale.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and like he dies, and then you find out like the kids didn't even have bullets in their guns,
Yeah.
so there was no point.
For a
I
minute.
don't know why they dropped the rifle though, because that's still like a bayonet. Like,
Right?
You can't shoot that.
Just in case. But no, they get found by their own men, and Gale is sent back to England. And like, everybody's like, alright, since the war's over, do you want to hop on this mercy mission? And he's like, alright.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that. It's such a bittersweet
Yeah.
and very it adverts your expectations kind of deal, because when it comes to these kind of stories with Masters of the Air, they're pilots and they're the best of the best, and they're gonna go through World War II. You would expect them to have like one final mission, one final fight before the war's over,
Yeah.
and they make it out, but it's gonna be teeth. That wasn't the deal.
Yeah.
They were captured, they got home, and they're like, the war is done, but if you would like to help, this is your final flight.
Yeah, but poor John Egan does get in the crossfires one last time between the Nazis and the American forces. I'm like, sweet
Oh my
Jesus.
dude, it was so. I didn't know that was a reality as well, where their own like fighter pilots
Yeah.
would actually shoot at them because they think they're Nazi forces.
Yeah.
And we're like, I was like, oh shit! I was like, oh shit! That American plane shot a couple of Americans.
Shit. And then there's some one last
Yeah.
firefight in the camp too, where the
Yeah.
American forces are coming and the Nazis start firing into the camp. You're like, swear if John dies from a stray bullet, I'll truly be sad.
Yeah, the entire time I was so scared. I was like, don't let one of the Buckies die.
Yeah.
Please, I swear to God, don't let one of the Buckies die.
Like when he's climbing the pole to hook up the American flag, I thought he was gonna get shot in the back. by a
Yeah, like
sniper.
one final stand from like a German soldier that we know.
Yeah.
But nah, that's not the case. Thankfully, he raises up the American flag, showing that hey, it's Americans who are like in this camp.
Yeah.
And
It's a cathartic scene to see every flag of every nation that's victorious in this war, and just see
Yeah.
the Nazi flag be torn up to shit. You're like, All right, happy ending for the
Very
war.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Uh,
Yeah, and I love this. I do like this episode. Like it's a little bittersweet in a way that it's like I want more from these characters now.
yeah.
Yes, I said like like episode 7 was a tad bit slow, and we didn't get to see much of what was the name of the
Oh,
fighters?
the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah, this Kiki Airman. And, like I was a little bit bummed out by that. I think they kind of redeemed it with this episode because there was
Hmm.
so much heart. There was so much in like I was at the edge of my seat watching this episode a lot of the times, and oh, man, you gotta give it. Like I kind of teared up a bit when he was flying the plane. They dropped off the food, and they were like, "Hey, I guess they agreed to the ceasefire," and
Yeah.
everybody was just so happy that they're dropping food because everybody's starving
Yeah.
in like what was it, Switzerland?
Somewhere in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in Europe. And then he's like, "Hey, all right, hey, like, well, what was it called again?"
Oh yeah, when Bucky calls
Yeah,
Bucky.
yeah. When Bucky calls Bucky, like
Yeah.
his like air control, like how can we land, or like give us instructions, and then you hear a voice in the comms, and you're like, "It sounds oddly familiar."
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, it's John. Oh
Yeah, and I
shit.
was like, I was like, oh, they made it. And I
Yeah.
was like, I legit kind of teared up. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, like, ah. By the way, Crosby, what fucking glow up,
Yeah.
dude! This you can tell this guy's been through shit, and like war has changed this man.
Right.
Like, uh, go on, go on.
And then also like you see in the after credits or like the title, it's where you see the results of what happened to the men out after World War II, and you see people like Rosie become like help up with the Nuremberg trials, and like
Yeah,
he even um, like was able to like I don't know testify or witness against Hermann Goring, who is the chief of the Luftwaffe, talk
yeah,
about the atrocities he's witnessed and help get the Allies justice against the Nazi criminals, and you're like, that's a fucking glow up right there.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It was just a powerful scene for me when I like I didn't know Crosby would be like, what was he, a major now?
Yeah,
Yeah, like this guy, we see him at the start of the show just puking and having like motion sickness, like air sickness, and you see him like coming up to another soldier, hitting his face towards a table and being like, I was like, every time we deploy, you have to be at the barracks for like 30 minutes and before and 30 minutes after. You got that? It was like, oh, well, given like the guy did fuck up, he's
yeah,
supposed to be on duty.
that's true. But yeah, I like the arcs for all the characters. Like
Mm,
they're definitely different characters by the end, from the Buckies and the Bucks to like Crosby to Rosie. You're like, ah, what a ride it's been. I just wish, as I think it was Crosby who said, like, I wish that we just had more men with us that started out. The men that started out this mission were still with us.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, it's a what a fantastic series. Like again, another great World War II series in our lifetime, and I can't wait to see if they ever do. I don't know the sea next time.
I would love that. I would love that. Like like the you know
The Navy.
the Navy of like World War II, because that'd
Yeah.
be, dude. Like I don't know if you played enough like War Thunder. U-boats are terrifying because you got like, oh, there's one and it disappears and you're like, what the fuck, and then you just get hit out of nowhere. Like, oh,
Yeah. So I've heard and read.
yes, it's intense. Like it's really intense. So I can't wait if like how aircraft carriers work,
Yeah.
and we get to see like, oh, they probably got some pilots on on those two.
On the carriers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. What would you rate this series in general?
As a whole, I would say it was all good until episode 7 came along, and I was a little bit disappointed because I was like, oh, yeah, I would like to pick it up or like show us a little bit more because we are getting to the end of the series. But then it picked it up back again in episode 8. and yeah, it did an amazing job. Like giving us a fulfilling ending. It is an unconventional ending.
Mm-hmm.
Again, from what I said, where the typical way of ending a movie or a TV series, but here it ended its way in like I would say a very tasteful matter, and like if it's wrapped up in a nice bow.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very great. It's very bittersweet because with what like Crosby said, where like I wish there was more men with us when we started,
Yeah.
you know. And I love that. So I'm gonna give Masters of the Air a good 8.5 out of 10. It is a really good show, you know. Like sure there were some parts missing, but like that I wish there was a little bit improved. But other than that, and I wish there was more, you know, air
Air
like
combat.
dogfights.
Yeah.
Yeah, air combat. But that wasn't the case, so it's fine. It's still a good story. And if you're a fan of World War II, like movies, TV series, or even the history, you would enjoy this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll also give this an 8 out of 10. I thought the acting was pretty great. The story was pretty good too, and like there were some moments, but like I was like, you know what, it's fine with the show. There were slow moments for the Pacific and Band of Brothers too, so I was like, it's fine. It's in nature with these shows, and overall, I think as someone who likes reading and watching about history or watching historical movies, I think this is a pretty good show, and it's a
Mm.
pretty good trilogy to complete between Band of Brothers, The Pacific, and now this. So yeah, both 8 out of 10. You can see we highly recommend the show. If you're here and haven't seen the series and are just curious, so yeah, if you haven't, just watch it as we end this video. But
Mm.
yeah, anything else to add before we wrap this up?
No, I think we pretty much said all of our praises.
Yeah. But yeah, that's been our episode for the Masters of the Air series finale. What do you guys think? Comment below. If you like our videos, please leave them a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us undergo. Individually, I am Zoda's Voices on TikTok and Enzwolf on Letterboxd. Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at JomGOM underscore on Instagram. It is my account.
And until the next time, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.